I'm Henry Brinton, the pastor of Fairfax Presbyterian Church in Virginia, just west of Washington, D.C., and I was very pleased to write this foundational essay on care for creation for the Follow Me curriculum. This is a topic that's very important to me as a Presbyterian. I've always been very grateful for the Celtic Christian tradition, which experiences God not only through the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus, but by seeing the glory of God in creation. I appreciate that about our tradition, that we do see God's handiwork in the natural world. And so caring for this beautiful creation has always been very important to me personally and a part of my ministry here at Fairfax Presbyterian. The fourth aspect of this curriculum is restoring creation. And this may be a surprising dimension of caring for creation, especially as we look to the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is a book that scares a lot of people. It is filled with frightening images, a great red dragon, beasts from the sea and land, the bowls of God's wrath, an apocalyptic battle, the final judgment. And those images are dominant in the understandings of most people about this final book of the Bible. But what a lot of people do not grasp is that doom and death are not the final word in the book of Revelation. Instead, the book ends with a vision of a new heaven and a new earth and the restoration of the Garden of Eden. In this Caring for Creation curriculum, we've talked a lot about the Garden of Eden, the abundance of God's creation at the beginning of time, the command of God to till and to keep, to preserve the garden. And what we sometimes don't realize is that garden returns in the very last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation. And in the last two chapters of Revelation, chapters 21 and 22, we see a vision of a new creation, a new relationship with God, one in which people live in harmony with God and in harmony with all that God has made. This bond is a restoration of the original creation in the book of Genesis, and it contains the best of numerous biblical images: a new heaven and a new earth, a city and a garden. The end of Revelation, the climax of this book, is really all about caring for creation. First, Revelation speaks of a new heaven and a new earth. As chapter 21 begins, the author of Revelation, John, sees a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. This transformed creation fulfills the expectation of the Apostle Paul. Paul believed that the creation itself will eventually be set free from its bondage to decay. That is a beautiful expectation, and one that we are called to participate in, to do what we can to free creation from its bondage to decay. Well, how can we do that? It's part of the challenge that is placed before us, not to abuse creation, but to set it free from anything that can lead to its decay. There are a number of scientists, including John Polkinghorne, a theoretical physicist and Anglican priest, who has argued that God's new creation is not really a new thing, but it's a divine redemption of the old creation. This new creation transforms the old creation, moving it into a closer and healthier relationship with God, the Creator. Second, Revelation speaks of a city. John sees the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God. This holy city is the beautiful place where God and humans will live together eternally. But this is not simply a vision for the future. The New Jerusalem vision is meant to be God's vision of how we are to live together now. That is the insight of a New Testament professor named Barbara Rossing. In this city, God says, "To the thirsty, I will give water as a gift from the spring of the water of life." This free gift of life-giving water reminds us of the importance of fresh, clean water, not only for ourselves, but for all of God's children. We are to make sure that the water is preserved and kept clean for our own use and for the use of all of God's children around the world and for the generations that will follow us. It also reminds us of the importance of the spiritual water given to us by Jesus, water to refresh our souls. So the book of Revelation gives us a vision of how good water is needed for life, both physically and spiritually. Third, the book of Revelation speaks of a garden of Eden, restored in the city, in the center of the city. This is a powerful message about God's desire for the built world, the human world, to exist in harmony with nature. And it serves as biblical support for our church's commitment to care for creation. There is a river in this vision of Revelation, a river in the urban garden. Revelation tells us that on either side of the river is the tree of life, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. This is the place in God's vision for our life together, the place where creation is renewed, where brokenness is healed, where curses are removed. The message of this garden in the book of Revelation is that God wants to heal our world. God wants to bring our world to healing and to wholeness. So what would it mean for us to anticipate this harmony and this healing? What would it mean for us to work on creating this beautiful garden in a city that will be part of God's fulfillment of all creation? Well, churches around our country are doing this in a variety of ways. At St. Andrew Presbyterian Church in Billings, Montana, there is a community garden, and it was planted for two reasons. First, to reach out to neighbors, to make use of an empty lot next to the church, but also to feed the hungry. This garden over the years has bursted with vegetables, and it's been cared for by both church members and by neighbors, some who themselves needed more fruits and vegetables for a healthier diet. Members of this church have used organic gardening guidelines to grow fruits and vegetables in a way that respects the needs of the earth. They have learned a lot about creation by growing these vegetables together. And as people tend this garden at St. Andrew's Presbyterian, all of the gardeners are asked to contribute at least 10% of their produce to people in need. They tithe what they produce to care for the hungry around them. In the last chapter of Revelation, Jesus says, "See, I am coming soon. Blessed is the one who keeps the words of the prophecy of this book." Well, what does it mean for us to keep the words of this book? I believe that keeping these words means to take steps to harmonize humans and nature, to live in a way that is in alignment with God's vision of a new heaven and a new earth. It means that we care for creation. We care for this world that will be the location of the New Jerusalem, and we take whatever steps we can to free the world from decay. Revelation can lead us to do the work of healing and to provide life-giving water to others, both clean drinking water and the spiritual water of Jesus Christ. We can each take steps to help this world that God has created to flourish. God wants this world to flourish. We can do this by participating in carbon fasts, taking steps to reduce our personal carbon footprint, being more sensitive to the way we consume energy in our homes and in our churches. We can develop green teams, as we have here at my church, Fairfax Presbyterian, that promote recycling, that take steps to replace appliances and light fixtures here at church with more energy efficient appliances. We've planted a community garden here at our church, and churches across our country can do the very same. People of faith can take steps to restore the earth in a variety of ways, supporting the values of God's garden in the city, finding ways to create a more harmonious relationship between nature and the human-built world. This is the challenge before us as we seek to care for God's creation in whatever way we can.